welcome back to today's episode of Is It Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. And the show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. And a quick reminder that I'm on JApp. JApp is a Jewish application that is Shirim, as well as episodes of this program. You can download JApp from iTunes or Google Play stores, or from the website www.j-app.me. We're continuing this discussion of life after death and Judaism's thoughts on it with Rabbi David Katz. Rabbi Katz, let's talk about the Yortzeit. You mentioned that in part one. What exactly is a Yortzeit? How does that relate to the person that physically passed on?
I teach a concept called the Torah of Shem, which is the study of Torah that was pre-Sinai, right? And we all know the Torah post-Sinai, which is properly called the Torah of Moses, which is the Torah as we know it. And the basic idea, don't get bogged down on what is the Torah of Shem at this point. It was the Torah from, let's say, Adam onwards till Sinai. But the point is that before Sinai, your spirituality could be kind of spread amongst a vast array, right? Without any kind of system or engineering. Maybe you could pray anywhere, think anything. It was kind of just tohu, chaos, wild. And the idea was, with Moses' Torah, is that it's engineered really nicely, right? So the example is, like on the holidays, Sukkot, for example. It takes place on a full moon. So, creation, the story was told, a full moon, and, let's just say there's the power of the day, a sukkah is something. So God comes in the Torah of Moses and says, let's call this Sukkot, and that's going to be, the tents of Israel coming out of Egypt. And it's a package deal, so that a nation of Israel in the future simply celebrates Sukkot, and you've accomplished what was, let's say, pieced together before Sinai, right? So I'm going to say the same thing here. The dead and the living have a relationship, as we're seeing. It could be a dream or memories, whatever it is. This guy's father couldn't get into Gan Eden because his son was suffering. We saw an example. So the son has to go through a tikkun, which is a repair of soul, and then the father gets into Gan Eden because his lineage is freed up, right? We know these kind of stories, right? So that's kind of like the chaotic view, but what God does, let's say in the Jewish view, right, because like Jewish is kind of the refinement of the primordial ideas in Torah. And the Yortzeit is, let's take all of that for as a given, and let's say the one day is when the day that the guy dies, the anniversary of it. On that day is your holiday for this guy. And when I say that, I mean, go visit the cemetery, learn some Torah in his merit for an elevation of soul. So whether you have a dream any other day, or a communication or correspondence any other day, whether it matters or doesn't, it's kind of like the opposite of a birthday. God says here, this guy, the day that he dies, that's going to be his day and your day with him. So if there is some kind of soul correspondence, whatever it may be, take care of it on that day. That's your day with him. And that's really what the Yortzeit's about.
All right, let's talk about Shiva, because there are a lot of customs regarding Shiva, and it is a bit of a symbiotic relationship between the mourners and the person that passes away. So just expand a little bit for our audience, please, about that.
So Shiva, when someone dies, there's a 7-day mourning that, I don't know all the rules, as I really haven't been around too many people have died. Thank God. We don't look in mirrors, right? You let your nails and hair grow, I think, rip clothes, sit on the floor. It's not a happy time, obviously. And the basic point is you're getting your grieving out, right? You're getting over this happening. But the interesting point that we're seeing from the book is you're not at this alone, right? The dead is going through a Shiva also. They're leaving their body, they're decomposing, they're ascending to their eventual location, right? They're taking care of business. And they're probably not happy about it either, because they're decomposing their ego. Remember, the ego, the snake, the Yetzer Hara, that's why you died, ultimately. I mean, it's the sin of Adam and Eve, right? So you're dealing with your issues, and you're trying to get to the good, right? You're getting through the judgment and finding, the light at the end of the tunnel, which he says that's what you see, by the way. So you're the mace is going his way, and mimicking or mirroring him or her is the family, and they're kind of like through like a mazel, right? They're getting it out of themselves. It's a mirror image. The dead is struggling to do his thing, and the family is struggling to do their thing. And if you were to have a godly perspective and insight, you would really see the unity of all these people accomplishing the same thing. And we only see it, again, from, I said earlier, from our self-absorbed point of view. And that actually helps that person. I mean, it's ironic. It's against nature, right? He died for his ego. Therefore, we strengthen our ego and we help you live. I mean, it's all backwards, right? You're helping him live when he's dead. But that's the beauty of the Shiva. You're just kind of engaging in I call it like a paraduma moment, the red heifer. From impurity, you actually become pure. The waters of the red heifer. And I think this is the same kind of thing. That by engaging in a total impurity, ripped clothes and not showering, and that actually makes the person pure, which is interesting because the impurity comes from the dead. I like that, right? The impurity of this world, it's called Tumas Mace, comes from the dead. So I think it's very apropos what I'm saying.
Again, this is It Prophecy on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, continuing the conversation with Rabbi David Katz, author of The World of the Dare. Rabbi Katz, let's talk about things in this world that have to do with death, or they are somewhat death-like, if you will, or symbolic of death. I know when we wake up in the morning, we have a ritual to wash our hands. Where does that come from?
This is one of the most fantastic things I've ever researched in yeshiva. We were looking up in yeshiva, what is Modani? And when you wake up in the morning, you say a prayer. It's not really a prayer. It's technically not a prayer. It's a thing you say. It's a composition of words we put together. First thing you say when you wake up, because technically it's not a prayer because it doesn't mention anything forbidden to say in that state. Maybe naked or whatever, from sleeping.
It doesn't have Shem's name, for example.
Right. So you say, Modani, thank you for returning my soul, in a paraphrased fashion. And what the book is saying is, you have returned from the dead. You died. When you sleep, your soul ascends on high to be with God. It's a type of death. And the miracle is that you woke up, God literally sent your soul back into your body, and it was like in Star Trek, you beam someone, you have to reconstruct them the right way, right? So, but the idea is that your soul actually made it back into your body, just like when you went to sleep the night before. So you think nothing happened because, hey, I'm the same, aren't I? But you're not. You're not the same. You're refreshed. You're settled. You're new. You forgot about yesterday's troubles. Even when bad things happen, you wake up, you do feel better. And the first thing you do is you say Modani. And it's interesting because when you research it, the only reason why we say it, there's the Shulchan Aruch, the law says you have to say it, wake up like a lion, but it's not binding. Like, you're not punished if you don't say it. You know why we say Modani? The conclusion at the end? It's simply a good thing to do. It's like one of those things that strictly, if you get into it, you realize the power of sanctifying your life when you wake up from coming back from the dead, you realize it really is a great thing to do when you wake up. The Zohar says, if you don't wash your hands, you're chayav misa. You're obligated to die. And people take this out of context and they say, oh my God, if I don't wash, I'm going to die. But I think I've understood this for a while. And look what we're talking about. When you wake up in the morning, you return from the dead, right? And I think, at least allegorically, what the Zohar is getting at is you're supposed to wash anyways when you wake up. But it says you have to wash immediately by your bedside. And here's why I think why. Because you're technically in a state of death when you wake up, because you just got returned to your body. You're kind of in a state of death, right? You're not back to yourself, and so the washing is what removes just the whole experience. So it's not saying you will die if you don't do this. It's saying, hey, you died last night, so therefore, as long as you don't sanctify it, having washed, you remain dead. As like a reminder, wake up, wash your hands, say a Modani, get dressed, go live your life, be happy that you're alive. And that really is the point of I think, Modani.
And that's something I want to bring up to skeptics or whatever that say we don't go to a place and then come back, because that's in our religion to do that, to actually wash our hands. There's a concept that we quote-unquote died and that we've been renewed and we came back, and that's why again we say Modani lefanecha. Again, we're continuing the conversation with Rabbi David Katz. Rabbi Katz, I want to go back to what happens with a person after they pass away, and then the in-between time between Techiyat Metim, the resurrection of the dead. What happens in that in-between time?
So what the tradition is speaking of, and again the book Chachayim Shalachar Mavet by Rabbi Yitzchak Halmish, Life After Death, The World of Souls by Rabbi Yitzchak Halmish. He's saying that he brings the sources. This is all sources, not his opinion. That when you die, the first thing you're going to have funny moments before you die. You're going to recognize that you're about to stand in judgment, and the judgment is not so much like the God of the harp and the white beard and what did you do, right? It's not that. It's that you're basically going to your destination, right? And you might have some turbulence getting there, right? You might go to Gehenna, you might rot slowly, you might have tremendous pain from lack of comfort because your hesped didn't go too well based on who you were. Are you going to go to Gan Eden? Are you going to go to Gan Eden on high? It's compared to Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, you're also judged in this world. And they say the next also. And it's based on maybe on mazel and maybe on merit. We don't know. If you're holding by mazel, it's mazel. If you're holding by merit, it's merit. And everybody's different and unique. And it's basically what it is in Rosh Hashanah. You're judged on you're getting shefa, meaning you're getting bounty, you're getting stuff. If you've made it through Rosh Hashanah, you are getting stuff. And that sounds like a great thing, but it isn't necessarily. It means you have to deal with that stuff. Anybody that has been married or is married knows it's a great simcha, a joy and merit to be married. But if you think, you're going to go on holiday now that you're married, you're sorely mistaken. Right, you're getting shefa in a wife, but now you got to go to work and shalom bayis. So the shefa comes with a price of effort, toil, labor, and striving. And so the same thing on Rosh Hashanah, you get what's coming to you, but that means you got to live up to expectation, right? Like a good paying job will give you the 4-star hotel. What the hotel is giving you by the job at hand. Now, when you die, also, you're meriting your place in the world to come. With that said, you have to get to that destination. So you have to deal with what comes your way, whether it be Gehenna, all of the places and journey and difficulties and decomposing. That's the journey between this world where you're going, the process, life and death, and everything in between.
Again, this is a prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva, and the show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. Rabbi Katz, now you were talking about how death, if that's the din, and you're comparing to Rosh Hashanah, how then does that compare to fate?
You have a fate when you die, right? You did your commandments, you had a relationship with God or a lack of, you're done. You lived your life. God took you out because you lived your life, and now it's like the slingshot or the bow and arrow. You are pulled back, and now when God releases, you're gonna be released out of your body, right? The Malach HaMavis, the angel of death, is going to release you in a way that it's a machaya. Like when you die, they call it a proper shechita. Like you're shechted. And what that does is it really prepares the vessel in an ironic way. Just like when a cow is slaughtered, he is ready for consumption. Whereas if it's an illegal slaughter, he really is not prepared for consumption. So when your day comes, and your time comes, we fear death generally. But it's not something so much to fear, it's a fate that you fear. And I'm not talking about heaven and hell. I'm saying when you die at that moment, you're released. All your life force becomes real. Right? That's the Mechaya, to come to life finally. You're really dead in this world. And in the life that you have merited now becomes real. So the life experience is not pleasant. I mean, is a baby being born pleasant? Not really. But it becomes pleasant. So your life after death experience and fate and journey and destination is a fateful experience. So if you ultimately master this world and master truth, you will go directly to a place of truth. If the waters are murky, you have to deal with that consequence, right? It's a practical consequence. You're going to what you have prepared for yourself. If you want a great Shabbos meal and you have stale bread and nasty water, that's what is waiting for you. But you recognize it because you built it. So it's a fate of, it just kind of makes sense. And you go through the trials and travails or blessings and merits of what you have coming from what you participated in while alive.
All right, Rabbi Katz, last question we have for you. Talk about tastes of Olam Haba that are in this world or Menucha in this world. Are there things that are Menucha in this world?
So I gave a class about this last night. It has to do with this thing about when you are removed from your body, it's considered being shechted, right? From the angel of death. And if you ever pay attention, have you ever seen how a grape is kind of like a miniature wine cooler? You know what I mean? You ever see that? It's like it's a perfect fruit. It's contained and the juices are in. And when you eat a grape, what's a miracle about the grape is it really contains the possibility of a wine. That's why it has its own bracha. So the idea of fruits and vegetables and even meat and food is when you have a sharp knife and you cut a tomato, you preserve the juices in the tomato so that it actually tastes better. If you use a dull knife, you destroy the follicles of the tomato. The life force literally goes out like spilled seed. And it doesn't taste good. It's not nourishing. You want more food, you'll overeat. So on Shabbos is when we particularly have, you sit down, relax. It's Erev Shabbos. You got the good knife, good vegetables. You're prepared. You're not in a hurry. You're relaxed in menucha. And we say Shabbos food tastes better. Why? Because you're putting your neshama into that food. Whereas during the week, it's the corn schnitzels and McDonald's. You eat like a heathen. And with this culture especially. But on Shabbos, you prepare the food. Really prepare. The world to come is a prepared world. You prepared it here. So imagine the more you prepare here, you're preparing it there. Whatever you have in that world, it's prepared. And that is what we taste on Shabbos, the taste of preparation. And it is a physical sensation. If you sit down, I challenge everybody out there, go make a salad with a dull knife, and then make another salad with a really sharp craftsmanship chef knife. You will taste Olam Haba in the professional one, and you will taste the death of this world in the dull one. Such is the world of the life in the world to come.
Again, a great discussion. We really appreciate it. And Rabbi David Katz of Somazal.com. You go to his website, check out his book, The World of the Ger. Before we close, again, this show is dedicated to Mechaya Ruth. Interesting that her name is Mechaya. We were talking about coming to life. Certainly that's what she was about. It was a very moving funeral today, very moving hesped. And obviously, I hope the show, anyone listened to it, they daven for her, say Tehillim, do Masim Tovim, mitzvot, and raise her aliyah in Gan Eden. If you have any questions, or I should say, if there's anything you could do to help with the process, because Mechaya does not come from a very big family here in Israel, and they do need help with the Shiva process. If everyone could write to F.E. Kane, it's actually spelled F, letter E, and then Kane. He's on Facebook. He seems like the person to talk to about all the logistics and the technicalities. So we surely know simchas from this point forward, but this is something that is going on right now, and those families do need help of Chaya Ruth. And if you contact Effie King, that is the best way of doing so. Again, this is a Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. You go to YouTube, type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out previous episodes. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me, messiahhour@gmail.com. Rabbi David Katz, thanks for being on the program today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. It was great.
Absolutely. And again, I hope this show serves only as a positive memory for Mechaya Ruth. She did nothing but positive things. I hope everyone out there, they can help out. Again, contact Effie Kane and do some good things in the memory of Mechaya Ruth. And again, her full name is Mechaya Ruth Bat Sarah Ruth. So please do any Masim Tovim, Talmud Torah, mitzvot, any good deeds, anything to elevate her neshama, as we talked about throughout the program. That's certainly something that has an effect on the soul in the afterlife. So again, her name is Mechaya Ruth Bat Sarah Ruth, and please help out in any way you can. If you have any questions, you can also email me about it, messiahhour@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a great day. Again, this is a Prophecy on IsraelNationalRadio.com.